So I actually wanted to bring up, so for those, I'm Reverend Michael Camut, and I am here to share with you something of a common theme. And it has to do with a law, the law of magnetism, as well as a lot of the powers we have of livingness. And so it is really, I would say, law of attraction, but that's not really what I'm going to talk about, as I'm going to talk about really the law of magnetism. The law of magnetism. If you ever get me like one on one, I will guarantee you I will bring this in some way, somehow. And I know certain people would know. And so, as of last night, I was talking with a couple of people, and it's interesting that there is somebody who I spoke to was just coming in to the manifestation side. And I was talking to someone else who already understood it. And the thing is that the conversations are very important because both were listening, both were allowing it. Because I will say, as we are human, the first thing is that you're no longer a spiritual being in the spiritual world. You're a spiritual being manifested in the physical world. The manifestation and those two parts are different. The way you remember of how you used to manifest in the spiritual world is completely different the way you do it today. Some people like to say, oh, those are blocks. Oh, there's blocks on how I can manifest. It's not really true. I would never use it. Do you have a block? The thing is, you might have been a state of mind difference, right? Your filtering may be different. So when you were brought up, maybe you were told you weren't good enough. Maybe you were told that you would never be this, you would never be that. Oh, your sister, your brother, you're somebody, but not you. That's not you. So maybe you are struggling with something called self-image. And some self-image is part of being human. It's not a block. It's just something to recognize in how we move through. And so as we go through there, there's a few things you can understand in the conscious as well as the subconscious. And so for anybody who is new to the conversations of manifestation, it's nothing more than being the law of magnetism, law of attraction. There is something called out there the secret. And the one girl, if you are interested in knowing and reading up to there's a book called The Magic. And I did bring them in, and I'm not here, you don't have to, but basically the magic. And there's this one woman who actually brought it along, Rhonda Byrne, and she made it kind of popular, law of attraction, of just manifesting. And if anybody heard of The Secret, basically she was part of that. And there's also another aspect I wanted to talk to, quantum success. And really, there is the science behind manifestation as well as the spiritual side. And both are particularly are accurate. And when I was reviewing. And so I would like you to know the first thing about manifestation, the power of love. When you are truly in love, and I mean unconditional love of what you are manifesting, there's nothing in this world. You can just stop there. The first step is the last step, love. Because love brings in gratitude, joy, abundance, sharing, community. Your tribe is your vibe. Your vibe is your tribe. Your tribe is your vibe. So guess what's attracting to you? Love, joy, people who reflect who you are. But the human side says, I have a self-image. I have a self-image of who I am. I have a self-image of who I am. As you look in the mirror and you look in your self-reflection, you know who you are. You knew your struggles. You knew that voice. There's so many voices you can bring into your head, but you don't need to. It's a choice. You're allowed to, I don't know, be independent of the voices you've heard in the past, from the physical part. You have to remember, self-image, you can differentiate who you are because those voices of who you think you understand who you are because you were told who you are came through these physical years, from the physical manifestations of other people bringing into what you are to be and where you at. That all came through here. When you check in and do a self-image, check it in without hearing those voices. Check in, see what you were coming into this world, what spirit actually is talking to. So the power of love brings in everything else that I'm going to talk about. The power of feeling. And how does this manifestation of feeling occur? So the manifestation of feeling is I feel joy. You know how powerful love is? Well, love includes feelings, includes the power of emotion. And as you bring in that power of love, you allow it to bring in a feeling and a setting of emotion. And there's a part of your body, your electrical part of your body, your spiritual part is called your chakras, your energy centers. And as you bring in any of those, I always call it the lower dantian for me. You can split it up any way you want, but the lower dantian is your power center. It brings in the emotion side. It brings in who you are and how you approach. When I go into a room, I already know the feeling of the room. I already know who's stressed out. I already know who's like bringing things. I already know like what's going on. And if it's really powerful, I have to put a block out. If I don't, then I'm okay, you know. But at the end of the day, your lower dantian does bring in how you approach your feelings and how you feel. So always check in with your body from the physical point of view as well. Then there's called the power of knowing. Do you just know something? Literally, just know it. I'm in love. I just know it. And no one has to tell you you love being outside. Well, who are you to tell me what I love, first of all? Second of all, I do. I do love being outside. So you're right. You got it. I love mountain biking. That is 100% true. And I love gravel bike. Just do it. And it's just recent passion. So, and when you're in the feeling of knowing, so you can see how it's connected, right? There's a dot. You have to remember everything I tell you, everything is interconnected. Your soul, your being, your life, your journey, your blueprint, everything is interconnected with this manifestation of being here. And everything that I'm talking to you has an end goal. And I didn't even tell you why to manifest. From a spiritual point of view, why do you really want to manifest? That is your crescendo at the end for your musical lovers. But as you're in the beginning and you're listening, you're being urged to bring something else into your life. Maybe there's something you're experiencing that is not cool, not happy with. You know that there's a gap already in your life, and there's something, again, I mean, through multiple conversations, you living a life, and you know that there's that feeling not resonating with me anymore. It did resonate a year ago, but not so much now. And you're ready to do a shift. Oh, I love the word shift. Oh, by the way, I have to write that down to tell you about the shift. And so when you get into that feeling of just knowing of what you're wanting to bring in and what you know about, that is a very and it's a power center, like almost like the chakras. I didn't even think about lining up all these powers with chakras, but everyone has a power center of energy. And I talked about the power of self-image. Now, let me go a little bit deeper. I brought in a little bit about how do you know self-image is not your own. Self-image is not your own if there is a feeling of unresonance, feeling that somebody may have told you that over and over, filling your head, or something you were in the middle of something. Maybe something resonated before. Maybe you're not that person anymore. Maybe you already manifested where you need to be today. So self-image is huge. When you look, you got to, and I'm going to go back to the number one, power of love. You have to love yourself. And I said you have to. It's just one of the laws of self-image. I want you to fall in love. The first person, I would say, even spirit, but in the physical world, the first person that love starts with is always yourself. Always. How do you share a love with another person? Well, you have to share love, and the love is you are looking to share your love with that. And there's always, even if you don't consciously believe that you are loving yourself, because I know that there are some areas of our bodies and our lives and we sometimes don't want to access, right? We want to put the shield. I told you that I go into the room and I put the blockers up for me because it's just a little bit too much energy of something I don't really want around me. So I do, and sometimes we do that internally. You have that feeling of that self-image area, once in a while someone brings it out and you get quite upset. How you know you're upset is you get defensive. If you use the word that's not, and you get upset about something, it's because you're being defensive. Why are you being defensive? Because it shouldn't trigger you. If you're getting triggered, there's something going on, and there's something that there is something inside that's wanting to get out and being released. It could be anything, how you just live your life every day. It could be your career, it could be love, could be where you live, it could be anywhere. And anyway, so the self-image part of it is huge where you bringing it in, because why? Because it's worthiness. If I really want to live in that neighborhood, I don't feel worthy. They're oh my gosh, they have their act together. They know who they, because I'm not, oh, I want to be rich. I want to have a loving spouse. I've never been lucky in love. I just never been. That's self-image. That's block. If you want to talk about blockages, which I don't believe in, that's it. That's human made. That's how human invented. That's not spirit talking. That's you talking to yourself saying, I can't have what I want to have. And you're the one saying, I want it, but I can't have it. I want it, can't have it. And what kind of a conversation would you have? You'd be like, if you were listening to somebody on the subway or on the train, you'd be like, you're talking in circles, you know. That's the way it works. Pretend. I always like to say, when I was growing up, and then I had kids, right? It's like you have this fatherly, or you can have motherly, grandparents, any kind of advice. You say, well, you know, the way you treat yourself, pretend you're your best friend. You treat your best friends like that, for goodness sakes. And no, I don't treat, we're best friends. We're besties. That person's awesome. I'm hanging with that person. Why don't you hang with yourself? Why don't you be who you need to be to yourself? Be your best friend. Can you say that it sounds when I say it's awkward outside, but it's not awkward to me. I'm pretty cool. I actually think I'm pretty cool. If you don't think it, then I ain't going to hang with you. Really, that's really it. If I am who I am, if you like it, and I didn't ask you to hang with me anyways. So if you want to hang with me, hang with me. I'm pretty cool. You're pretty cool. And we had, what did we have last night? We had psychic healing night, and we had community come. Literally, it was the first night we had people just showing up to show up, and it was awesome. And I was introducing people. I'm like, oh yeah, and that person's awesome. Oh yeah, that person. I literally went around. I have witnesses in this room. I was telling everybody in this room was awesome, and I was like, and I had to apologize and explain to these people who are just first time they're coming. I said, I know it sounds like I'm saying everyone's awesome here. First of all, they are. Second of all, it's because my vibe is my tribe. My tribe is my vibe. It just is. It's just natural. It just attracts. It's just, you don't have to work. You don't talk about manifestation. You don't have to. People say, oh, you have to manifest and you have to do this daily. If you just believe, if you go back into the love, number one step. Someone asked for a shortcut. I was asking, someone asked for a shortcut on how to manifest. How do you manifest? Just give me the lowdown. I don't have time for this. Give me some. Just love it. That's really it. Anyway, I'm going to harp on that all day long. Okay, now the next thing is the power of elbow grease. I know it sounds that's not spiritual, elbow grease. But I grew up with very important is that you have to put the work in. If you have a self-image, something going that needed to be worked, you got to put the work in to resolve that. You just got to love yourself, but it's easier said than done. As a reader, as someone who does spiritual counseling, it's easy to say. It's hard to embody. It really is. And trust me, it's like you can. I went to someone and gave me a reading, and they said I should be loving myself more. Okay, and are you? It's easy to say. figure it out. You have to reach out. And your journey is not your own journey. Your journey is, if you're part of a spiritual community, reach out to the spiritual community for help, for just camaraderie, just fun. Anyways, put the work in. Elbow grease, that's where the part is in there. You have to manifest. If you want to have manifest pizza for dinner, you got to either make it, you got to go to the store, buy ingredients, you got to actually go online and order it. You either go to the store and buy it, you got to do something. You just don't manifest a pizza right at your couch and just saying, I'm manifesting, I'm going to love pizza today. That's not good. You got to actually do something. Well, do you have to? So does anybody know who ever manifested something physically? I don't know. I guess you could. But I just don't know anybody in the physical world.
Does it all the time.
She just puts her hand out and manifests.
Well, no, I don't get to talk to her much during the day, and then I get these urges for certain food.
Oh yeah.
And then I text her, "What do you want for dinner?" And she's like, "That food." I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So this is okay. I'll bring up. Okay, thank you for that. I know you can't hear this on Zoom, but there was someone who just mentioned something that brought into my thought process. Literally. Unbeknownst to me, I went to the store with my daughter and myself, and I went to buy some clothes, and it took off. And I didn't know this, but my wife said she was testing is not the right word. She was requesting that I really want some jewelry, and she didn't have any specifics. And she said, I want them to buy me something. She's talking to spirit, that I really want some jewelry. My daughter and I were at the store, and literally it was a clothing store, and a very specific one. I'll tell you outside of this where it's at. But we went in there, and it caught my eye. They had a table, and it's unusual in the clothing store. They had, well, I know you probably say it's not. I don't go shopping on. So they had a table with some jewelry on it. And it was for women. And I'm like, well, that looks really cool. There was one thing on there that was really cool. What am I going to, you don't want that. What am I going to? So anyways, I bypass it. I get my pair of jeans, whatever I bought. My dog, and I didn't go to the checkout yet. I was going around and pick up, say, my daughter, and she goes, oh my gosh, Mom would love that. It's the same thing. I just love that. And I said, hey. So guess what? Well, I got it. I got home, and she goes, oh my God. I'm like, okay, didn't know. So anyways, it was your daughter who really was the second voice. You know, it wasn't just me. Never, I don't. Anyways, the next one is the power of celebration. Oh my gosh. So it's, I will say one thing more. I know I'm trying to get in all these powers in here so you can walk away so happy. So just be happy. Just be happy you manifest. It could be something even towards the goal. And I'm going to tell you one more. There's another part about it. There's another part of the manifestation I'll tell you about. But when I get to that part, remember the power of celebration. Remember the power of that. And I am serious about at the end of the rope, and then say, when I have this fully manifested in the physical world, I'm going to go to dinner, celebrate. I'm going to that kind of thing. Very important. My wife and my daughter manifested a scholarship for her school, and you're saying, okay, well, scholarship, they give out scholarships just because you show up. This manifestation was a very specific one. It was a full tuition to where my wife went to school in a college. So my wife got this prestigious full scholarship for the tuition, and they give it a particular name. Two people get it for the whole, and the whole enrollment class. And so we're like, well, Carly can do that too. And we're like, yeah. So she really, truly went through these I call them steps, but process. And at the end, she said, when we do, we're going to run together through the campus. And when we do, we're going to come back, and that's it. And I'm going to film it coming back in. And she had that and says, we're going to be running. She saw herself running in the fields of the campus and coming back. And that's the celebration. You put that part of the the pie at the end. And yesterday was Pie Day, so put that at the end of the pie. And if you didn't have pie yesterday, have pie today. Pizza does. Okay, the power of release. Okay, so this is another important. Yeah. If all you did all day was to always think about one thing, it's like if you manifest, like particular, like a car. If part of your journey is like, I need to manifest a new car or even a used car, or I just need transportation's reliable. I want to manifest reliable transportation via a car. I want to own a car. You have to put some details behind it. Be specific. You don't like if you drive a car, right? Let's say you're going to work in the morning. You get in the car, that car is on your mind. You turn that key, or now I push a button. You push a button, you want the engine to start. You're thinking of that car at that moment. But once it starts, you're not thinking of the car. You just released it. It's working. It's great. I'm in the car and I'm driving. Now I'm in driving mode. Then you go and you park it for 6-8 hours or wherever you're at for an appointment, or you go to the mall. And then you don't have the car on your mind, do you? You're walking, you're buying stuff, or you're at work, but when you get done with that project, you're going back out and you're looking at the car. Now all of a sudden the car comes back into play. So the power of release is something that you don't choke on what you're manifesting. Don't do it. Don't let it involve your whole life, your whole energy pattern. You know how much energy you have? You have infinite energy, by the way. Don't spend all your energies on all that infancy is just always pounding it. You got to release it into the laws of everything, appreciations, celebrations. And so you manifest, you release. It is the case. It's the knowing. Remember all that, the knowing, the belief, that kind of thing. I talked about the gratitude, and then I wrote down celebration twice, so you got to celebrate twice. Okay, so, and I'm going to give you some practical. Okay, real quick, and I will try to open it up. Miniature. Okay, so miniature attraction totally works. Okay. Application example. We lived in a townhome for 20 years plus. My wife had this image of living in a single family house. Okay. She knew what she wanted. She knew the decorations. She knew, I don't know, I'm speaking for her, but basically of everything she knows, she knew what that house was going to look like. She knew how she was going to decorate it and all that kind of stuff. The miniature attraction is she brought in that drape. She brought in that picture on the wall. She brought in and physically was manifesting the elbow grease, putting into physical. She was bringing in that portion of that manifestation into her life today. It wasn't the whole picture, it wasn't the single family home, but it was the mesh of those things brought into the same portion. And so when she woke up, she saw, oh, wow, power, love, healing, gratitude, everything was in there, and now it's in the physical. It's one more aspect, okay? So the power of miniature is huge. Change your environment. If it's your tribe, change who you need to be by allowing yourself to attract the right people in your life. If it's about something physical, bring that in. If it's a new car, I think they sell those those scented things that smell like a new car. Bring that new scent in. Let it be in your car. Smell that new car when you walk in there. Loving it. Still driving my, but I'm smelling that new car. I'm feeling that car. I'm manifesting that new car. And it just happens subconsciously as well as consciously. Okay. I did talk about the shift. I will promise, and I will close on this. Okay, so the shift. So everything I just talked to you about, bringing something into your life, doing all this portion of it, it's called the shift. Now, the reason why it's called the shift is it's incorporating everything I just talked about. There's a part of you if you really are in tune, I mean, I'm talking about the part about really in tune with it, your essence, your presence, your swagger, your who you are shifts. If you want to be that loving person, shift right into it. And there's two things. There's one part about creating the shift through all the manifestation process I brought in, but also embodying the shift. And so when this process is put in A, B, C, D, and you're like, oh, Mike, I'm swinging at this, man. This is really good. And if you were like Chase Utley or you're knocking it out of the park, you're like, oh, this is it. I feel it. I have swagger. I have the motion. I wake up happy. I go to bed happy. I'm believing it. I'm smelling that new scent, and I'm seeing it on the walls. I am going and playing tennis. I'm going bike riding. I'm doing all of this stuff and enjoying it. So there is the shift of your life. Be it, be part of it, manifest it, do the miniature portion of it, and allow your life to be in that future state. It's called the shift. You were, you are, right? I was, I am. No one actually wakes up and says, I was, but you do wake up and say, I am. And that's exactly what we want to be. We want to be in the I am happy, I am loving, I have self-image, I am looking in the mirror, and for once, I'm thinking I'm pretty cool. I really like the way I do it. You know, my hair's messed up, but it is freaking awesome still that way. Yeah, like my hair was a mess last night. I didn't care because I was on the bike ride and my head was, and I said, I don't care. This is who I am. This is me after a bike ride. Welcome. Welcome to it. If you're still hanging with me afterwards, then good on you. All right. Well, that was it. Thank you.